What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NBA DFS video. It is Sunday. It is March 10th, and we are back with another breakdown video for you. If you've never been here before, you're in for a treat, hopefully. If you find this video at all helpful, please hit that like button. Please leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. It will help us out immensely. And please click on the ads if you have not already. That definitely helps us out as well. If you've been here before, you know the drill. We're going to go through every game. We're going to look at the Vegas odds. We're going to look at the players at each position. And people have been asking, that, like, we're going to try this again. We're going to go with the top plays at each position. And if you need a little bit more help, in the description of this video is this article that you see on the screen. In that article, we have 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks at each position with our initial projections. So they're basically floor projections. They're not ceiling projections. We're not going to project like Luka for 80 or anything like that, but we're projecting out. If you have any questions, definitely let us know. My suggestion is, if you want to see more, join FTA Plus. With FTA Plus, you can see all of our projections. You see our chalk plays. You can see the simulations. You can see the top plays, both Fanduel and DraftKings, for DVP and implied team totals. You see our cheat sheet, which usually has about 6 or 7 players at each position for cash and 6 or 7 players at each position for tournaments. On top of that, we do have a couple of optimal lineups to start you off with, not to just copy paste. We have a lot going on at FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, and we have some giveaways and we have some specials going on. So just real quick to reiterate all the giveaways: 2 giveaways every single video. First one, like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment for the comment picker. 50 likes on a video, we'll give away a free week of content. 100 likes, we'll give away a free month. 125 likes, a free year. And 150 or more likes, we'll give away a lifetime pass. If this video gets 150 or more likes, 2 people will win a lifetime pass. All you got to do, like the video and leave a comment to have a chance to win. The second way to win, so you can win twice every single day: like the video, be a subscriber here on YouTube, and tell me who's going to score the most amount of DraftKings fantasy points and how many fantasy points will they score. We'll go Price is Right rules, closest without going over. If you get it that way, you will win a free week. If you get it exactly correct, which we have not had yet, we were 0.25 off on somebody, you will win a year pass. We had one winner yesterday for Luka. They projected Luka for 74. He went off for 80. What was it? He went off for 80 exactly yesterday against Detroit. 39 actual points, 80 fantasy points. So congratulations, MTMIO. You are the winner, and you can win every single day. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Those are ways to win. A couple of the giveaways that we have were those. And if you go to FTA Plus, use the promo code MLBVIP, you will get a free, well, not a free, but normally a year. This is for the yearly pass. On the year, it's usually $199. If you use MLBVIP, you'll get it for $75. That is a full year of MLB, NASCAR, NBA, NFL, PGA, MMA, whatever sport we have in season, that'll be part of it. If you use the promo code VIP customer, all one word, all capital letters, you will get 1 year for $99, and we're going to add another year to that. So that being said, we're very excited. We've been partnering up with DFS Hero, and we've been using our information. They have a state-of-the-art lineup optimizer that we start using by putting our projections in there, uploading our projections into there, and then running the lineup. So if you've been with me for a while, you know that I'm very excited. I've always wanted to have an optimizer. I can't afford to build my own, and I can't afford to keep the upgrade or just update it month by month. So we have partnered with DFS Hero. If anyone signs up for a monthly pass, the first pass you will get 15% off with DFS Hero, and we will give you a free month of Fantasy Team Advisors. If you sign up for the year, we'll give you a free year on top of that. So definitely check that out. The link is in the description below. So we have 7 games on this slate. We're kind of used to a 6 to 7 game slate. and we're going to look at them. So we do have one early game. The Bucks Clippers is not on the main slate, so we're not going to worry about that. We are looking at the Pelicans versus Hawks. Current spread as the making of this video. Maybe it is changed by the time you watch this video or start building your lineups. We've got the Pelicans being an 8.5-point favorite with a 222.5 over/under. We've got Wizards versus Heat. Heat are a 10.5-point favorite. Wizards love to give up fantasy points here, so there are definitely plays that I want to take advantage of in this game. 222.5 over/under, or 229.5 over/under there. Pacers Magic. The Magic are actually 1.5-point favorite right now. Every time except for the last game, normally the over/under's way higher for the Pacers. So it scares me a little bit at 225.5, but want exposure to this game a little bit because normally they're a very high-paced game. Not the best teams going up against each other, but they're here. We got Rockets versus Kings. Kings being a 6.5-point favorite with 233.5 over/under. Knicks versus 76ers. We've got New York being a 7.5-point favorite as of now, 211.5 over/under, which is a very low over/under. Nets versus Cavs. We've got the Cavs being a 7.5-point favorite with a 208.5 over/under. These are very low over/unders for a Sunday. Collectively, this might be the lowest over/under day I've seen in a while. And then the final game on this slate is Grizz versus Thunder. Thunder being a 14.5-point favorite. Watch out for the blowout potential. We saw that yesterday with Denver. All of our plays with Denver, all were cold. All had the snowflakes or did not have the flames on DraftKings or the flames on FanDuel. So watch out for this one. 14.5-point spread is pretty big. 218.5 over/under as well. So they're thinking Thunder take this game easily and not a ton of scoring goes in this game. But we're going to break down each game. We're going to look at those games. Then after that, towards the end of this video, stick around because we are going to build a FanDuel and DraftKings lineup using one of our tools on the website, the NBA Points Allowed by Position tool. So that being said, that's the tool, and we're going to go game by game and look at this. So looking at these, just overall, we can see you've got some players out. Jalen Johnson's out. Okongwu's out. Dejounte Murray is questionable. Let's see if he's probable. As expected, he is probable. Fully expect him to go. We're seeing 39, 40 minutes out of him. We're seeing a ton of fantasy points. He is one guy that I want exposure to. With Jalen Johnson being out, Bogdan Bojanovic, I'm looking at him as a little value. He's 6,400, so his price has gone up. Trey Murphy III are sneaky options that I want. So there are certain options that I want in this game. And we're going to go game by game, and then we're going to give you the top plays at each position. And then what I want to do is we're going to build the lineup. So people are looking for value all the time. Jose Alvarado, I don't mind. He's got a good matchup. He's 3,500. He's coming off not very good games, but he's cheap. So when you build a lineup, if you're paying up at other positions, you need these $3,500 players. For cash, your target is basically 7.5 times value. So 3,500 times 7 would be perfect. Cash, that's good. Tournaments, we're looking 8.5 or more times value. You're not going to get it for every single player, but you can pick and choose, like an Alvarado. Not saying he goes off, but an Alvarado at 3,500, I don't mind him. He has potential to go off for 10 times value. Will he? Probably not likely, but it is an option. That is definitely how it is done. So that's how you build your lineups. That's how you want to pay up for the Sabonuses today, but you got to find those Alvarados at that price. And that's why we're here. We're trying to find some of that value for you to help you out. So what I'm going to do at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my core plays for both FanDuel and DraftKings as of 6 a.m. Obviously, things will change throughout the day. Some of the players that are in or out will be out, and that value will be open up. So what I tell everybody, in the description of this video is our Discord link. In that Discord, every single day in the NBA DFS channel, we go through the core plays for FanDuel, we go through the core plays for DraftKings, and value plays for that day. Usually about an hour before the slate lock. So we've got a lot in this video. We have even more in our Discord, and I am trying to build this Discord up. We just hit 8,500 subscribers on YouTube yesterday, and we had 47 likes on the video, so we almost had 50. We're trying to get to 9,000 subscribers before the start of the MLB season, which is a couple of weeks away. Probably improbable, but it could happen. If you guys help me out, I will give away 3 lifetime passes if we get to 9,000 YouTube subscribers by, let's just say, the end of the month. So we got till the 31st to see if we can get 500 more subscribers. So that being said, we can go position by position. We can look at these plays. We can see what we like, what we feel, and if they're in a good spot, and what we kind of have, just kind of what we have and what we have a good feel about. So just let's look at all of the games, and we'll go through all of the point guards that we like. So right off the bat, I love Jordan Poole. I think they're going to be playing from behind against Miami. I want his exposure here. He's got some good value today. His floor is basically 26.75 on DraftKings with a ceiling of 43.8. He comes in with a $6,500 price tag. So I am definitely looking at Jordan Poole here. Point guard and shooting guard eligibility, and he has a great matchup here. DVP-wise, this is kind of why I tell you, with both FanDuel and DraftKings, or if you've never been here before, don't follow this number in this color. So it looks great. It's like, oh, 26, he looks good. It doesn't tell us if it goes off point guard or shooting guard since he's eligible for both. But DVP-wise, he's got not a good one. It's 4th DVP there overall, which isn't the best. But in this matchup with these Vegas odds, I love Jordan Poole here. Another one I do like here is, and you could look through these and maybe you see it, maybe you don't, but you've got a lot of players out. Hero out, Maxey out, Mitchell out. Like, these players are out. I want to take advantage of this. I'm looking at Fred VanVleet here against Sacramento. Is another one. I like this matchup for him. We're looking at 38 to 39, but you can also see 52 fantasy points out of him in these matchups. I like this matchup for him. He is my 2nd overall point guard right now. Terry Rozier is another one that I want exposure to. Now, this is part of the player pool. So these are part of the player pool that this is just one step of building a lineup. The second one is to check out our cheat sheet. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all the way down. We have all of these other. We have projections. We have the points allowed by position. We're going to go through that at the end too. So these are just another way, another thought, my thought to build. Like, there are other channels out there that are going to just tell you, these are the 5 players I want, and that's it. They don't dig into it deep enough. We're doing a deep dive into every single slate, every single time. Especially, go check out our playlist for MLB. It's vastly way bigger videos than what we do for NBA. Another one is De'Aaron Fox. I absolutely love De'Aaron Fox on the flip side of this with Fred VanVleet. That's what I'm looking at. CJ McCollum would be one I look at. If you want to get down a little bit for the price, Amen Thompson, his DVP in this matchup is 18th, which is fantastic for us. Middle of the pack play here is Tyus Jones going up against Miami. Again, if they think it's going to be a blowout, these guys for Washington should see a run in this game. I love Tyus Jones in this one. Bojanovic for Atlanta, I like. Jose Alvarado, like I said, 3,500. His DVP is 26th out of 30. He should go under-owned. I think he should be a sneaky option there. Kyle Lowry is another one at point guard. And then this guy, which I can't really say his name, should get some run with other players out. Obviously, we'll just call him Vit Krejci. I don't know how to say his name, but obviously if Dejounte Murray was out, I would like him a little bit more. He's in, but 3,400, we're allowed to do a lot here. Obviously 3 games under his belt, not the best. He started Friday against Memphis. Jalen Johnson being out again, I think Vit and Sadiq Bey could be in store for a good game. At 3,400, you're allowed to do a lot. Played 22 minutes in that game. Only got 18.25 fantasy points. Was 3,000. He is now 3,400. Value tournament option, I'm okay with. For sure. You put him and Alvarado together. Like, if you just put him and then you put Alvarado together, you can average 7,100. Now, I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but like, people in these videos, you guys have been looking for value. These are some of the value options that open up. Again, we are, 10 10.5 hours to tip off. So value will open up today, and that is why I tell you, definitely check back to the website, definitely check the Discord channel, because that is where we'll see if what value opened up throughout the day with news, because there's going to be those inevitable no tags at all, and then now they're out for no reason, or for a reason. So that's some options at point guard. We look at shooting guard, depending on what we've got going on for the Knicks game, which scares me a little bit with the over-unders, but a lot to go on. But with Randall out, Anunoby out, Mitchell Robinson still out, Miles McBride, we used him when Jalen Brunson was out. He's still been there, stuck around. Again, we saw Jalen Brunson was back, 19 fantasy points, 24.25, or 19 minutes and 24.25 fantasy points. They have dropped McBride's numbers down, so I'm a little cautious on using him. Josh Hart, I love Josh Hart here. Not the best of DVP matchups, but in a game that's supposed to be close, I don't mind Josh Hart as a point guard or shooting guard. You can also do small forward if you want. Another one is Malik Monk, is a cheaper option than some of the other guys out there today. 6,700. I don't mind him. Karis LeVert. I love Karis LeVert now that Donovan Mitchell is out for an extended period of time. Still like his price there. Another one in this game, it's going to be a blowout potential. They think it is. But Duncan Robinson, we've been over him. He's got a great matchup. Coming off kind of a stinker game against OKC with 28 minutes played. The minutes are there. He has a great matchup here. Washington, you'll see, gives up a ton of fantasy points to every single position. The minutes are there for Duncan. The game against OKC was not his best game. I think he has a bounce back game here. I love me some Duncan on this slate. Another one be Brandon Ingram. We'll look at a little bit. He's got a great matchup DVP-wise against Atlanta, 22nd in that matchup. Dennis Schroeder will be they're kind of putting his price up. Dennis Schroeder's price is kind of going up. It's steadily going up. A matchup against Cleveland. His price actually dropped, but we were using him when he was 4,800, and he was doing okay. Now he's been into the starting position. Not 100% on him, but tournament-wise, Dennis Schroeder I'm okay with. Trey Murphy III at 5,900 is another option in that New Orleans-Atlanta game that I would look at. With Philly, with players being out, Kelly Oubre Jr., he is priced up at 6,500. I'm okay with Kelly Oubre Jr. We definitely could look at him. Jaime, okay, so let's go with Jaime here. We look at him at 5,200. Price-wise, I'm okay with. The minutes for him have been there, 28 to 30 minutes, coming off 39.7 against OKC, and now he has a great matchup here against Washington. I love me Miami as a stack. Now, I don't want to get too out there with Miami with the blowout potential, but like a Duncan, I think people will be on Jimmy Butler. They'll be on other guys. I want Duncan Robinson and I want Jaime for my two main Miami players in this game. So we move to small forward. Just looking at them, like I said, Jimmy Butler. I just feel like at his price, we could probably find some value at other positions. So I would probably stay away from Jimmy Butler. If we make like one lineup, if you make a multiple line, like 5 to 10 lineups, get exposure to a lot of Miami players today. But on the flip side, get exposure to some Washington players, because if it is a blowout, those Washington players, they're going to get those minutes. Someone's going to get minutes for Washington. But like small forward, we've got Georges Niang, price-wise, 4,400. Getting some minutes here and getting some run due to the injuries there. Has had success. Surprised he's only 4,400 still in this game. Love me some. He's going to be he's another value option for me. Isaac Okoro is another one for Cleveland. Definitely looking at that. Karis LeVert, like I said, for the other position. Get some exposure to some Cleveland players today. Couple other plays. Just looking at Michael Bridges against Cleveland on the flip side. Not the best of matchups. He is 7,400, but someone's got to score for Brooklyn. They really do. Tobias Harris for Philly. I don't mind him. if you just look, a lot of players are out for Philly going against the Knicks in what's supposed to be a close game. The minutes are there for Tobias. I want exposure to him as well. Then we move to the power forward position today. Kuzma, like I said, one of the top options for me on the slate. I'm looking at him. Jaren Jackson Jr. I would look at. Caleb Martin is a cheaper option for Miami. He's 4,500 going up against Washington. If they do go up big, I think he could get the run there. We got Jovic here against Washington. Game log coming off 30 minutes, 25.5 fantasy points, only 4,100. Another Miami player that we could definitely be looking at. Zion, I think, is one of the top options for power forward as well. Is he the highest price guy? No, he's the fourth highest price guy. I would still, these top five actually, I'm looking at him. But with like Cleveland, there's going to be value open up for Cleveland. Definitely do not sleep on Cleveland players. Do not sleep on Miami players today. And then center position, it's the normal guys. Chet Holmgren, Jaren Jackson Jr., Raquan Holmes is a cheaper option at 4,700. I don't mind him. Alperen Sengun, I'm definitely looking at him. Bam Adebayo against Washington. You're going to see Miami's going to probably be the top stack. You could pivot a little bit to Washington players. I think everyone's going to be on Miami, which they should be. If you make multiple lineups, make a couple of Miami lineups, but pivot to Washington as well. Like, there's going to be some... everyone's on Miami. I think Washington, if they do get blown out, there's going to be minutes to go around for players. So Kuzma, Adia, Poole, Jones, Raquan Holmes, like Kispert, Bilal, like minutes-wise, they're there. It hasn't really like been much, but like these are the players, these are the kind of plays that will hopefully catapult you into the standings there. So those are just some of the players to each position. Just kind of a very short player pool. I want to show you the cheat sheet from yesterday, just to show you what we have each and every day for each slate. So just like on our cheat sheet yesterday, each position we've got, what is that, six. So these are all of our each position cash plays up top. We've got usually 6 or 7 tournament plays at each position. So we've got like 13 to 14 players at each position on each position. So that's kind of our player pool. Then we got our leverage plays down here, which you can save some money on. We've got DK tiers, which we go off with our bacon rating. We've got Fanduel and DraftKings optimal lineups. These are starting points. These are not just a copy paste and that's it. These are great starting points. But again, this is not what FTA Plus is about. We are hopefully making you a better DFS player, not just selling you lineups. If you're looking for just lineup sellers, you've probably come to the wrong spot. Then our boomstick shots, usually depending, what we look for is players that are cheaper options that we think could get 7 or more times value. These were 2 of them. Bertans did not go off. Gafford did go off for 7 times value. Went like 7.5 times value yesterday, I believe. So these are just options. This is one tool that we have on the website. We have a ton more, and that's what we're going to go cover right now. We're going to take a look at the NBA points allowed by position tool. Then we're going to build a lineup both on FanDuel and DraftKings using that. If you need a little bit more help, we do have the article right here, which is in the description of the video. 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks at each position, along with some of our projections with them. So let's get started. So we look at this. Phoenix gives up the most amount of fantasy points to the opposing point guard. But as you know, Phoenix right now, they're not on this slate. We've got Washington. Washington gives up a ton. You can see a ton of green against them. Washington gives up an average of 55 fantasy points to the opposing point guard. So that, like I said, that's Miami. With Hero being out, we've got Rozier. Basically, that's the guy you would go with. Patty Mills isn't really cutting it much. The minutes are 10 to 16. Did get 1 point per minute in that one. So this is kind of a pivot. So if Miami does go up big and they end up winning, like Terry Rozier at 7,000 might sit a little bit, might not play a third quarter. That would bring in Patty Mills. So my suggestion would be to make one tournament lineup with like Rozier as your starter. The second one would be Patty Mills. And I'm going to show you why. So we can go both, and then at the end I'll show you kind of a thought in this one. Okay? So Rozier here, one of the top plays. My problem is if it is a massive blowout, he might sit the third quarter or not play. That would scare me a little bit. So we go to the shooting guard position. Okay, Washington gives up the most to the shooting guard, 47.5 fantasy points. Next up is Utah with 46.6. So we look at this. Shooting guard for Miami, Duncan Robinson. I absolutely love Duncan Robinson. A pivot from Duncan would be Jaquez Jr. or Patty Mills in that instance. So depending on what you feel, the way you could go with Patty Mills, the minutes would be there. I don't mind him. But again, I love me some Duncan. I already told that. But if you want to pivot off Duncan, this is completely fine. We'll do it two ways. Let's just say we pivot off Duncan. We go to Patty Mills at 3,200. Now, that's going to save you money. You're going to save a lot of money, actually. So we go to the small forward position. Big surprise, surprise, surprise. It's Washington again. Butler, yes, I'm off of him. Duncan Robinson, Jaquez Jr., like these guys, if you're going to build a lineup, this is a Miami stack. Obviously, there are different ways to build this. This is probably where I'm looking at for Miami. I know center position will also, I already know it, but we'll look. Utah gives up the most to power forward, followed by Hornets, Chicago, Toronto, then Atlanta. So Atlanta gives up the next most, which is New Orleans, power forward, which is Zion at 8,100. But putting in Jaquez, putting in Patty Mills, like this allows us Zion here. I'm not a huge Zion fan all the time, but he does have a good matchup. We need to take some exposure to him there. And then center position, Washington gives up a ton. They give up 61 fantasy points. But San Antonio's right behind them, followed by Portland and Atlanta as well. So if you don't want to continue this stack of Miami, which would be Adebayo or Jovic here, could be a cheap option at 4,100. I completely understand. You could pivot over to New Orleans, depending. Jonas here at 5,900. He's had some down games here. Played 19, 20 minutes. Larry Nance Jr. in those same games, playing 27 minutes. Hasn't done much. That's the problem. And then Robinson Earl, the minutes aren't there. So you can either go that way. You can go with Adebayo if you feel like you don't want to have too many Miami players because the blowout potential. I completely understand. We could pivot to another position. Charlotte, Detroit, Houston. You go Sacramento with center Sabonis today. I absolutely love. So instead of paying for Adebayo or Jovic, I do want to pay up for Sabonis. There's a reason he's the picture of this video and article. I have him, as of now, I have projected him out to score the most amount of fantasy points. Will he do it? We don't know. That's DFS. But that is my thought in this one. So Sabonis at 10,800, I'm definitely okay with there. The way we've built this lineup, again, this is only one lineup. This is only one way to build. There are multiple ways to build a lineup. This is one way. It's left us about 5,200 for a guard, forward, and utility, which we can look at. There are value options that we talked about. So let's just go down here, find that value. Top is 5,200, but we can find value other places. Okay, so we've talked about some of them. Couple we didn't talk about was Sam Merrill, who should get some run here. Hasn't really done much lately. Bilal, the minutes are there for Bilal, 4,400 in this matchup. On the flip side of this Miami game, I don't mind him. He does allow us some run there. Then we got some forward here. We could be looking at, depending, Niang that I talked about. And if you put him in there, now again, this is a tournament lineup. This is kind of how you got to build a tournament lineup. 6,900 for utility. We can go up all the way to Vince Williams Jr. We've got Nick Claxton, Cam Thomas. We've got these plays we can look at. Levert at 6,600. I don't mind. Again, you don't have to use your entire lineup, but that is a way to go about it. So that's one way to build a lineup. And I'll just throw a different one in there just to show you if you build like your boomer bust lineup. So my boomer bust type lineup would be obviously the players you're looking at. I want exposure. I want Sabonis. 10,800. He has got a great matchup that I like. I want exposure there. But you got George Niang. You've got if you want Duncan, you want Patty. Let's go Patty Mills again. Kind of your boomer bust here. Depending on where you're at, who you feel comfortable with. Bonchero, we talked about, one of the top plays on the slate. Kuzma is another top play for me. So for shooting guard, we're looking at like a 4,900, give or take. 4,900 shooting guard for any game. You kind of look at this. You kind of feel... Come down here, not a ton that you love. Maybe Cole Anthony against Indy, not the best games there. Okay, so do you want to pay up? So let's go Jacquez. So we're looking at 4,700 for guard, 4,700 for utility. So just looking at this, depending when you come through, you want to get those players. Alvarado, like I said, 3,500 allows us utility of 6,000. Clint Capella against New Orleans. Valanciunas. We've got Trey Murphy, Paul Reed, Keegan Murray. Like, these are the guys. Just kind of looking. I don't mind Valanciunas here. Now, a lot has to go right with this, but this is another way to do it. So more of a boomer bust. So we paid up for Sabonis. We paid up for Bonchero. We paid up for Kuzma. And then you build out throughout there. So again, don't just copy paste. This is one way to do it. It's one way I do it. So then fantasy points allowed. We've got FanDuel. Let's go through. Washington's going to give up a ton. We know that. Utah, Detroit, Milwaukee, like all these guys give up a ton. So with this game, it shouldn't come as a surprise. It's Miami players again. Rozier, Patty Mills at 3,700. Like, these are ways to do it. So I'm going to go both. This is just the crazy way to build a lineup. Not the only way to build a lineup. If you like this way, let me know. If you want to see other things in these videos, you got to let me know. I don't know. I can't read minds. So shooting guard, Washington, Utah, Atlanta, obviously. So shooting guard with Washington, Duncan Robinson for Miami. Williams, I don't think the minutes are there. Yeah, he's not even played. So I don't know why he's still on there. But obviously Duncan Robinson would be one where you'd look at. And then Atlanta gives up some. So you could look at New Orleans here. With New Orleans, CJ McCollum, it would be looking at. Herbert Jones would be 5,400. The minutes for Herbert Jones, the minutes have been there. He really hasn't done much with the minutes. That's the problem. With McCollum, he hasn't really done much either. His price of 7,300, and he's back-to-back terrible games in matchups that were good for him. So that's what I'm telling you. Don't just go with the top ones. Dig in a little bit. Take a look at some of the things. So you've got Detroit not playing, San Antonio, Sacramento. So Sacramento gives up an average of 43.4. So we're looking at Houston. So you can look at Houston shooting guard. Like I talked about earlier, Amen Thompson, I wanted exposure to. So Amen Thompson was one I wanted exposure to. You can look at Dylan Brooks. Just tries way too hard in these pictures. Hasn't really done much in that. The minutes have fluctuated as well. So you move to the next position, or the next team. Golden State, Toronto, Indiana. So we know Indiana's playing. We know that it's Orlando for... Well, now, no. Okay, we've got our shooting guards. We're looking at small forward now. So let's move to small forward. Washington gives up the most. Do you trust the small forward? I do love Duncan Robinson. We've already talked about this. Jimmy Butler's that guy you're up there with. I'm scared about him. We've got Duncan already for shooting guard. Jacquez Jr., 5,500, I'm okay with. And that's probably as much as I'm going to go with Miami players here, regardless. But you can still see that Toronto, Atlanta. So we're looking at New Orleans here for small forward. Brandon Ingram's at the top, obviously. Trey Murphy is there at 6,500. We've got Herbert Jones. Najee Marshall. Najee will be a cheaper option. Coming off back-to-back pretty good games, 27-29 at 4,400. Especially if this game stays close, I think we could be in store for a good game. And you look the way we built this FanDuel lineup, 8,900 left. 8,900 left. I pretty much know that, what I wanted to do was Adebayo. But I think I'm going to go Sabonis, which then brings it down to 7,500 for power forward. So we go to power forward. We look at these. We obviously know Washington's. Actually, they're not right here. That's the difference between the scoring and FanDuel and DraftKings. So definitely check that out. But Utah, Charlotte, Chicago, Toronto. None of those are playing. Utah, Charlotte, Chicago, Toronto, which then brings us to Atlanta. So Atlanta, power forward. Atlanta, looking at New Orleans. It's Zion, 8,400, which is basically what we're around. So we could look at that. Brandon Ingram could be another one at 8,200 if you want to save 200, give or take. Ingram here, 34.9, 22.6. The minutes they fluctuated a little bit. You've got Zion, who can always get hurt. We understand that. Coming off good games, though, in these matchups, I want some Zion. So that allows us 7,300 for a final power forward. Okay? We're not going to use it all because you got Sadiq Bey and down. I think Sadiq Bey makes sense here. Kind of what we're looking at, 6,400. We've now got $900 we can mess with. So do we think point guard Patty Mills, maybe he doesn't have a good game? Now we've got 4,600 to mess with. You want to go with all. It brings us down. Craig Porter, Jose Alvarado at 4,100. I don't mind Alvarado. Like I said, a cheaper option allows us other positions. So this is just one lineup. We've left 500 on the table. You can go through. Maybe you think it's not Najee. Maybe you think it's somebody else. Maybe you don't think it's Amen. So let's just go. Let's just try. Shooting guard, 8,000. Jalen Williams against Memphis, 7,700. Malik Monk at 7,700. These options. So if I were to look at some of our projections here, and I were to, if you're asking me is if it's between Jalen Williams and Malik Monk, let me just look real quick at shooting guard. These are some of our projections. So shooting guard, I've got at the moment, I should say. At the moment of this video, I've got Malik Monk scoring projected out of 35 fantasy points. So Malik Monk at 35 fantasy points, and then it's between him and Williams. Him and Jalen Williams. We've got him, as of now, at 33. So it's really, really close. The minutes are there. The matchups are there. It just depends on what's going to happen. So I'm probably going to pivot. I'm probably going to look, or we could look at Michael Bridges. So we've got 34, 33, and then if you wanted to look at Michael, again, these are projections. Yeah, right around 34 fantasy points. So I don't think you could go wrong either way. And then a final one, McCollum would be one that I would, if I'm trying to decide, kind of feel like at 33. So they're all really close. They're all projected out. Matchup-wise, McCollum DVP is 12th against the position. Michael DVP is not a good DVP. It's first in against him. Malik Monk is 9th. So if you're big into DVP, or Jalen is 24th. So I think just looking at, they're all relatively similar. The minutes are relatively the same. I would then pivot to look at DVP, and Jalen Williams has that DVP, the best DVP out of the four. So that's kind of one lineup. It's a tournament lineup. You don't go with it if you don't feel comfortable, but that is one that I am locking in right now. So that's what we've got in this video. Hopefully it was informative and investigative enough for you to start your Sunday DFS. If you have not already, go check out the website FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, because not only do we have this, but we have NASCAR out there. The NASCAR is, depending on when you watch this video, it's probably already out, ready to go. The article is live, so with players that we like. And yeah, that's what I've got. So good luck on this slate. Let's have a great Sunday. Let's bring home some bacon. Peace.